Well, after 273 days, 540 league games and more than 1,300 goals, League One reaches its climax and Rochdale have one last chance to stay up. Keith Hill's never been relegated as a manager, and if he can pull off the great escape this evening, if it isn't already, his status as Rochdale legend will be secure. Plotting their downfall, though, a man who began his playing career at Charlton and who's transformed their fortunes since taking over as manager. The Boyers players responded to the challenge by storming into the playoff places just 18 days ago. They've won their last 3 games and arrive here brimming with confidence that this season will end in promotion back to the Sky Bet Championship. Yes, welcome to the final day of the Sky Bet League One season, with so much still to be decided at both ends of the table. It's Rochdale against Charlton, live from Scotland. And for Rochdale, the stakes could not be any higher. They're down in 21st place, knowing a win may still not be enough to secure their League One status. The simplest explanation is that they have to better Oldham's result at Northampton, which means if Oldham win, Rochdale are relegated whatever the result here. At the top, Charlton will secure a playoff place if they win or draw. Plymouth could take 6th spot if they win, and Charlton lose with a big swing in goal difference. Wigan will be champions if they win, and the only way Blackburn can take the title is if they win and Wigan Athletic lose. And we could even end up with a playoff for 6th spot, because if Charlton lose by 4 goals, Plymouth win by 2 goals, that would leave them level on points, level on goals scored, level on goal difference, and level on the head-to-head. All very simple, I'm sure you'll agree. Delighted to have alongside me a man who knows all about winning football matches, both as a manager and a player. It's of course Stuart McCall, and we'll hear from Stuart in just a second. But first, both managers have been speaking to David Craig.
Keith, let's start with the team news. Ian Henderson's back for you. How big a boost is that?
Well, it's a big boost. I previously said in a recent interview that I would have sacrificed the win at Peterborough to have Ian Henderson for the last 4 games, but to get him back for the last game of the season, big boost to me, big boost to the team.
What's the difference in mentality for this game, knowing what's at stake compared to other games of the season? Is the preparation the same, or does it take on a slightly different twist?
No, nothing changes, you know. We just prepare to win every game. So we've come here, nothing's changing in any way. So we've come here, we're ready, and we're ready to go and win and get the 3 points and then put ourselves in the playoffs.
The maths are very straightforward. You have to better Oldham's result. How much are you going to be aware or want to be aware of what's going on at Northampton?
Well, we will be made aware by our own supporters, but it's important that we just focus on this game. What will be, but it's important that we do everything that we can to win this game today.
Just finally, what do you expect from Rochdale? They're fighting for their lives.
Yeah, exactly what you said, they're fighting for their lives, so they're going to put up a test for us, and we have to stand up, be candid and respect them, and then when we get the ball, then we can start playing, and then we'll see what the outcome is.
Well, both managers there, Stuart, looking relatively calm. Given what's at stake for both sides, who's it the bigger game for?
Well, you never like to get relegated. I think Charlton are almost there, so I would say Rochdale. And I've got to say, I feel for Keith. I mean, they had a lot of injuries beginning of the season. There's no way they're a side that are the 4th worst in the league, that's for sure. And even in the last month, they've shot themselves in the foot. They got themselves in such a great position after having lots of games in hand. And you know, a couple of games, they lost a last-minute goal here at Bradford for only to take a point. Henderson, who's been fantastic for them, you know, a silly sending off at Peterborough in a great victory. And even last week, Callum Camps, who's probably been one of the best players in the league this season, gives 2 silly penalties away. So they have been, you know, shooting themselves in the foot, but, you know, I think they've got enough quality to win the game today.
Is that the approach? Is it confidence in the fact that they've still got the chance to be able to do it? Obviously, they've got to rely on other results, but the approach from them?
Yeah, listen, Keith's calm and cool, and you know, he knows all about it, but he'll have belief in his players. As I say, they've been unfortunate throughout the season for different reasons. Obviously, they had a great cup run. You know, the pitch is in immaculate condition today. They play good football, but they're up against the Charlton as well, who, you know, want to get that point to make sure they clinch the playoff position.
And does that bit of belief come from the fact that they get top goal scorer Ian Henderson back from suspension? How big a boost is having him back in the side?
Yeah, huge. As I say, Ian will be kicking himself. He got a silly sending off, you know, and missed 3 or 4 games, but he's back today. Big lift for them. You know, really good goal scorer, a good type to have around in the dressing room, and he'll be key today. And
when we look at the games that he's missed, 7 games through suspension and all, they've only won 1. It's quite a telling stat, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. And earlier in the season, they came to our place, we Bradford, and we managed to beat him 4-3. He got 2 and he missed the penalty, you know, so he could have had a hat-trick that day. But yeah, he's very influential. But they've got a lot of good players in this side, and as I say, they shouldn't be in the bottom 4.
When we look at Charlton, they were 9th when Lee Bowyer took over. Given the impact that he's had, he's been the ideal Philip, hasn't he, for this side to push them into these playoff places?
Yeah, I mean, you look at in this division alone, sometimes some managers have changed and the clubs have gone on an upward curve, sometimes they've gone downward, but since Lee went in, whatever he's changed, he's gotten plain simple. They had a couple of sticky results, but bounced back with 3 in the trot now, and everyone's behind him and they're playing some really good football.
Just a little touch on when we look at the games that are going on around the games today, and obviously Rochdale have got to rely on results elsewhere. As a manager, how do you filter that? Do you get it onto the pitch? And as a player, would you rather know that your job is on the pitch and anything else after is in the lap of the gods?
Yeah, listen, as a player, you've got to focus what you're doing. You're going to know. I'm going back years ago when, I'm sure you remember, Dave Weatherall scored against Liverpool to keep Bradford up years and years ago in the Premier League, and we knew what were going on at the other game down at Southampton because of the crowd's reaction. But I think Keith will be just telling his players to focus what you can affect. All they can affect is going out today and getting 3 points, which they need.
And when we look at that, and with regard to how the game goes, pressure must be the most telling thing. Who handles it best?
Well, yeah, as I say, I think Charlton, obviously they're almost there. As long as they don't get beat 3 or 4-0, which could happen, I think they'll be a little bit more relaxed. But from Charlton's point of view, they've got players in there today who, if they are going to get in the playoffs, even though they've come in, and they've changed a couple of members around as Lee, it's their chance to make a stake to play in the playoffs and get to Wembley. So it'd be a great game.
OK, we'll keep you updated, obviously, with the games going on between Oldham and, obviously, for Plymouth with regard to how they affect this game today. All right, kick-off is very much fast approaching here at Spotland. For Rochdale, they're in the last chance saloon and they know they need a win and Oldham Athletic to lose. For Charlton, avoiding defeat secures them a playoff place and a route back to the Sky Bet Championship. Well, the global impact of this game is felt as far afield as Spain, as Jesus Sanchez, a.k.a. Spanish Dale, is hoping to bring some divine influence into the game, along with the lovely weather that he's brought over to take this game in here at Spotland. It's Rochdale against Charlton on the final day of the Sky Bet League One season. It's all to play for, because obviously Rochdale, if they win, they need Oldham to lose. That would secure their League One status. And for Charlton, they need just a point to get their top 6 spot booked and a place in the playoffs. OK, to take you through all the drama, your commentary team of Don Goodman and first, Gary Weaver.
Yes, thank you, David. So 9 months ago this very day, it all began in the sunshine. Fresh-faced, every possibility lay ahead of every club, every player, every fan. The dreamers, the realists, the pessimists. For some, dreams came true. For others, dreams could still come true. While there are those whose worst nightmare has happened, and those who it could still happen too. Rochdale and Charlton have yet to write the final chapter in their book. Will it be a tale of glory or a story of glorious failure? Here we stand on the final day of the season. Their fate yet to be sealed. 90 nervy minutes to decide their future. On to the teams then, and Ian Henderson is a Rochdale icon, and he's back in business after a 4-game ban as he looks to add to his legend here. He scored 20 goals this season, including a strike against Spurs. They'll be looking to him to keep them alive in League One. Matty Doan won this league with Sheffield United last season. A whole different ball game for him this time around. Jimmy McNulty will marshal that back 3. It's important they don't concede here today. Well, Lee Bowyer has got one eye on the playoffs as he makes 4 changes here. A couple, though, are enforced. He does like to play 2 up top, and Sully Kaikai and Michael Zyro are together in attack. Kaikai's yet to really show what he can do since arriving on loan from Crystal Palace in January. We expect Joe Aribo to play at the tip of the diamond, a promising talent who was recommended to the club by Marcus Gale. Top scorer Josh McGuinness is amongst Charlton's backup. Well, this tiny stadium stands in the shadow of giants in Greater Manchester. Rochdale have been punching above their weight for years. One more knockout blow could keep them standing in League One. Charlton hold all the cards in the hunt for the final playoff place. They will show their hand next. We are live at the Crown Oil Arena in Rochdale, and Don Rochdale ideally need to win. They need to be creative, and Brad Inman provides that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. They are not a prolific team in the slightest, but this fella, he's not only gets amongst the goals, he's creates chances for others, and of course it may be tight here this afternoon. Rochdale will need his creativity.
Well, Mark Marshall can rip the best teams apart in this league. Just how influential is he for Charlton?
Well, I think he's up there with the best players in League One, I have to say. I really, really rate him. On his day, Stuart McCall will testify he's as good as anybody in this league. So if he's on fire, it may spell trouble for Rochdale.
Lee Bowyer knows that Charlton are almost there. That's why he's made a couple of changes here today, a couple of rotations, a couple that have been enforced. He's enjoying life as caretaker manager after deciding he would never come into football again. But football stays in the blood. Keith Hill hoping that he can plot a way to safety for Rochdale, the man who has brought them into this league. He doesn't want to take them back to the bottom tier. The next 90 minutes will decide what goes on and what fate awaits Rochdale. We are right amongst the Charlton Athletic fans here. 1,500 have made the journey from South London, and they are making plenty of noise. The sun is out, it's the end of the season. It's time for the great teams to get their rewards.
Yeah, absolutely. Pressure situation, not necessarily for Charlton, but certainly for Rochdale, and it's reflected in the two sets of fans, isn't it? Charlton fans really buoyant. You know that their playoff spot is almost secured, but it'll be a very, very nervous afternoon for their opposite numbers, the Rochdale fans.
This is Jay De Silva with a throw-in for Charlton Athletic. There's Syra on loan at the club from Wolves. Jay De Silva again. Hunted down and harried by Rathbone. Lays it back to Ben Amos, who knows this part of the world pretty well, having come through at Manchester United.
We saw a huge game on Tuesday evening, didn't we, up at Scunthorpe? The magnitude of that victory was huge for Scunthorpe, but it's also huge for Charlton Athletic. It really takes an awful lot of the pressure that otherwise may well have been on Charlton here this evening.
Squeeze that ball out to Matty Doan, who does look to rampage forward when he can from that wing-back position, and it's dealt with by Bauer.
Wow, 5 players Rochdale got into the penalty area as Matty Doan went down that left-hand side, and that is a statement of intent, isn't it? Often look at that. See how many players teams commit to the box, but clearly again, Rochdale have to win, probably will have to win.
Rafferty. Now De Silva. Camps looking to step in. The man who gave away 2 penalties at Oxford last week, which cost Rochdale, and Keith Hill wasn't happy with his midfielder with the decisions he made in making those challenges which led to the penalties.
Highlighted one of the reasons that they're down here, didn't it, Rochdale? They threw away yet another lead. It's a team that really haven't been able to manage games when they've got their noses in front.
Rochdale with a chance to launch this forward and test this Charlton Athletic back line. They haven't been conceding of late, Charlton. He's hoping to breach the Charlton defence here. It's Jimmy McNulty who is standing over the free kick. Andrew looking to make his move, was being held there by Pearce, who released quickly before the referee saw it. Camps on the move. Henderson was lurking with intent at that far post.
Well, dangerous game played by the Charlton Athletic captain. He wasn't really that subtle in his dealing with Calvin Andrew. Prior to this is one came after as it's hooked in, just slightly overhit, and it comes to nothing. But previous to that, from the free kick, there you go, Jason Pearce. That's a very dangerous game that the Charlton Athletic skipper has played there.
Jay Da Silva. Forward by Aribo. Here's Sonny Kaikai on the move for Charlton. Runs into McNulty and gets the free kick. The referee here is Tony Harrington this afternoon.
A player that likes to get the ball, turn and run, commit defenders. Sort of clearly taken out there.
Well, Kaikai back on his feet. There was real excitement when he signed for Charlton back in January on loan. Player who has come through the academy at Crystal Palace. Mark Marshall and Jake Forster-Caskey both having a look at this. Marshall straight at that wall. Josh Lillis wearing a cap to protect his eyes from the sun here. Charlton on the move again. Conza trying to drop that ball inside the Rochdale penalty area, but Rochdale have cleared it, and this is Henderson, the club icon, the legend around these parts. Rathbone shown the inside. Aribo is after him, but Aribo got to him.
It's a clumsy challenge, and having just had a really good situation up the other end, Charlton have conceded a pretty needless free kick. Nowhere near the ball, Aribo. Mark Marshall, not a great effort at the other end. Can Rochdale do better?
Calvin Andrew and Callum Camps, the two interested parties in this. Callum Camps, who would love to atone for those errors last week. It is Camps, plenty of power on it, and then off the post on the follow-up. Henderson was arriving on the scene. Amos dealt with the initial free kick. So close to Rochdale.
Wow, well, it shouldn't have been so close. They should be in front, there's no doubt about that. And that's the returning hero. Probably couldn't have wished for a better opportunity. It's a great strike by Camps. Lots of power, lots of dip. Ben Amos can't handle it. Spills it straight to Henderson, and he has to score from there. Predator like him, he will be disappointed. Has to forget about it now, though.
How big a moment in Rochdale season could that be?
Said he's got to forget about this. He cannot have this playing on his mind. I mean, wonderful strike, and he does the good thing. He follows up by a striker. He's got lots of the target to aim for, and he fluffs his lines. I wonder how massive that could prove to be.
Ben Amos with the catch there for Charlton. Playoffs could begin on Monday, of course. The EFL have put a plan in place for an historic playoff eliminator. Should Charlton and Plymouth finish as equals today, that will be the same points, the same goal difference, the same goals scored. It could happen. If it does, then Charlton and Plymouth will meet at a neutral venue, which is on standby and ready to go on Monday at 7:45. The odds are it won't happen, but the plan has to be in place.
Absolutely. Odds heavily stacked against that happening, aren't they?
Off the head of Harrison Maguire. Rochdale have had the best opportunity so far in this game. Ian Henderson striking a post from point-blank range, unlike him.
It's all fine lines, isn't it? Really fine margins.
Kai looking to link up with Zaro, but it was Delaney stepping in that time for Rochdale. There's Jay De Silva on loan at Charlton with Chelsea. And motoring away from Rathbone. Sully Kai pulling out wide. 4 in the box here for Charlton Athletic. There's too much on the cross. There has been a goal at the Priestfield Stadium. And it's Gillingham who have taken the lead against Plymouth. Josh Parker has put them in front with the outside of his right boot. Gillingham 1, Plymouth 0. It looks like Plymouth's hopes are coming to an end. They were only slim hopes after what happened at Scunthorpe the other night. But Charlton a step closer to the top 6.
Yeah, that makes life very, very difficult for Plymouth, doesn't it? I wonder if the Charlton fans are aware.
They're too busy enjoying themselves in front of us at the moment.
They're having a party. I think they were quietly confident that they were going to get in the playoffs, and that goal at the Priestfield certainly aids their cause.
Well, I spoke to Derek Adams, the Plymouth manager, last night, who, as ever, was on the team bus. They did a lot of travelling, and he had 12 fully fit players. They've got 5 on their bench today at Gillingham, and the 6 squad members, as well as the 12 fully fit players, are 19 or under. So that is what Plymouth are having to contend with today. But Charlton Athletic a step closer to securing that top 6 spot. Camps. There's Rafferty. Rafferty. The climb by Pearce. Rathbone. Andrew trying to knit things together. Managed to spin. He's got Inman there for support. No nonsense defending from Pearce.
Well, I think, with the exception of the Henderson miss, I think Keith Hill will be really pleased with how this opening 11 minutes has gone. His team are on top, there's no doubt. They've restricted Charlton to isolated attacks, really.
Well, his team have lost less games than Portsmouth this season, only 2 more than Rotherham. The draws are what I've done for them.
Yeah. If they don't survive, that is going to be the pivotal reason, isn't it? The draws. Throwing leads away as well.
You can't see it on your screen, but Batman and Robin have just arrived in front of myself and Don Goodman. And it's that kind of rescue act that Rochdale need here to keep themselves in League One. There they are.
There they are. Off duty just for the game.
It's not Charlton who need the rescue act, it's Rochdale. Dealt with there by Conza, but Rochdale have started well here.
Yeah, and they have got hope, you know. Northampton, they need a favour from Northampton against Oldham, but Northampton beat Plymouth in their last home game, so there is that hope for Rochdale.
Zyra looking to put himself about. Had a good start to life for Wolves, Michael Zaro, but then picked up a serious knee injury which set him back on the pecking order now at Molineux, and looking to make an impact at the Valley. The man who is down here for Charlton, slowly getting back to his feet.
He won't want any injury concerns, will he, Lee Bowyer? That's for sure. Noticeable, isn't it? He's kept as much of his back four intact as he can. Strong unit, aren't they? Very, very solid defensively, Charlton Athletic. Not the most prolific team in the league.
Well, they're on the front foot here, and the efforts from Aribo is straight and Lillis.
Well, nearly 15 minutes in, and that's the first Josh Lillis has had to deal with. It takes slight deflection, but fortunately doesn't deviate away from the Rochdale goalkeeper too far.
Has changed since he took caretaker charge is to play with two strikers, as he is here again this evening. He wants to give the opposing centre-back something else to think about, something more to think about, rather than being able to measure their pass out from the back or hit it long. He wants to put the squeeze on the centre-backs, and he believes the two strikers can work together in this league. Oh, knocked away by Mark Marshall.
It's just a high, hopeful ball into the penalty area, but that will encourage Rochdale. Calvin Andrew wins the knockdown, very nearly finds a teammate with it.
It was late on Rafferty. Zaro the aggressor, and the referee wants a word.
It's petulant, wasn't it? Overruns the ball. Leaves one on. That's a little bit naughty, isn't it? Hopefully Rafferty okay to continue, thankfully.
A reminder that Rochdale need to better Oldham's result if they are to stay up in League One. Oldham 0-0 at Northampton right now. Keeping an eye on a couple of battles, a couple of subplots which are developing just on the edge of the Charlton penalty area. Sent in by Inman. Andrew was rising at the far post.
Look a little bit of a threat, don't they, from set pieces? Rochdale. Another one here. Desperate to score the first goal, weren't they?
Well, they've got plenty of heights, including Delaney in there. Rafferty is trying to get free around the back. Delaney got free and dealt with by Amos, and then fired over the top on the follow-up. Ryan Delaney was free, and once again Ben Amos came up with the answer for Charlton.
Well, it doesn't really have to do an awful lot to find the space. Delaney does all he can, hits the target. Rebound doesn't fall kindly to Jim McNulty. It's a decent save from Ben Amos, a decent header as well, and it is all Rochdale really. They are on top of this game. And Jason Pearce, don't tell anybody that Charlton aren't up for this. Calvin Andrew, well, it's a little kick through, isn't it? It's a couple of little things that Jason Pearce has been involved in this game so far.
He is pretty much a no-nonsense defender, is Jason Pearce, a man who won this league with Wigan a couple of years ago and is hoping to win promotion this time around in that red shirt of Charlton.
Well, it's okay to be no-nonsense, you've just got to be a little bit careful. Had a little kick out, that was in the penalty area as well.
Zyro keeping the ball in play, Marshall arriving inside the penalty area, nearly got through it. Inman. It's Conza, he was taken out, the referee's seen it, free kick Charlton.
There's a lot of clumsy challenges out there, really. Needless free kicks being conceded. I wonder whether the team are going to pay the price for this. Conza's laid the ball off.
Jason Pearce makes his way forward. They have the height of Zyro in there as well, amongst others. Aribo lurking just inside the penalty area. in dangerously, and it's kept alive at that far post, and Andrew deals with it. It was Bauer who retrieved it.
Oh, that's excellent from Calvin Andrew. Just sniffs out the danger here. It's not cleared. Look at the striker. Gets himself back into an area. Really good defending. It's not what he's there for. Rochdale will be thankful to him.
There'll be moments for Rochdale. Forster Kasky with this corner kick. Again, it's Andrew who meets it. Calvin Andrew once more. There's the Silva. Konza is beaten through by Inman. Henderson trying to give chase to that, but Amos sprinted out of his box and got to it.
Inman has played that ball a little bit too soon. Henderson not expecting it, and his back turned. It's a decent situation.
Well, he never thought he would be in football again once he hung up his boots. He bought a fishing lake in France, swapping the hustle and bustle of English football for the calm of the riverbank. It was Harry Kewell who tempted Lee Bowyer to put his fishing rod down and offered him some work with Watford's on the 21s, and the next thing, he was back at his first club, Charlton. And he's enjoying it.
You can't enjoy it when they're winning games of football. Fine at the right end, you'll never enjoy it.
He's not enjoying that moment, is it?
No.
One reason why Lee Bowyer thought he would never enter the football world again was that he lived to train and play and win games. He disliked the other stuff that went with it, the travelling, the spotlight, the politics. He was building a reputation for himself, albeit at the moment as a caretaker manager until the end of the season.
It's not been an easy place to be, is it, Charlton, for anybody really, with the disengagement between the owners and the fans. Very, very difficult circumstances. But it is nice to see Charlton fans having something to shout about this season. It's been a while.
Yeah, a glimmer of hope for those Charlton fans who may well get their wish, the majority of them, in Roland du Châtelet packing his bags and heading out of the club at the moment. The takeover is on hold, and it looks like they're going to wait until they see which division they will be in next season.
Thinking he'll get more money for a championship club. Possibly. There you go. You didn't want to say that, did you? I thought I'd help you out.
To deal with that for Charlton.
Just steadied the game down a bit, haven't they, Charlton, in the last 5 or 6 minutes, really. Took a little bit of the sting out of Rochdale, who started this game very well. Had the big opportunity to take the lead.
A reminder, Gillingham lead against Plymouth by 1-0 at the Priestfield Stadium. Still goalless between Northampton and Oldham. This team have been playing every 3 days for their last 16 matches. It's been a grind. He says his one big regret is that he didn't freshen the team up a little bit more every third game. Andrew with the flick. Likewise, Henderson.
Just falls behind him, tries to improvise. We've seen that come off once or twice in the last couple of seasons. They are winning those aerial duels, aren't they? Calvin Andrew have a big part to play.
Ball almost went through to Calvin Andrew. There's Jay De Silva, who loves to get forward. as every modern full-back does these days. Kai leaving it there to Forster-Caskey. Worth the effort, and it's deflected behind.
Well, that really is a heart-in-mouth job for Jim McNulty, because this deflection takes the ball not a million miles away from the top corner. Breathe a sigh of relief.
Forster-Caskey with the corner. There's been a foul on Ian Henderson, just on the edge of the Rochdale penalty area. Another goal at the Priestfield Stadium. Plymouth are not letting this go. Graham Carey and Joel Grant finishing things off there, just about. 1-1. Still at the moment, Charlton looking pretty safe and safe.
Yeah, they're in full control.
Just the way it stands right now. Rochdale looking at the other end and hoping to climb out of the bottom four on the last day.
They can't afford to leave here this evening and have regrets. They've got to take care of their end of the bargain. Okay, they need a favour, but the worst thing that could possibly happen for Rochdale is that Northampton go and do them a favour, but they don't take advantage of it here.
There's a Rebo. Life at Staines Town, where is their manager Marcus Gale recommended him to Jason Newell, who is the youth coach at Charlton Athletic. Pierce, Aribo, Pierce, Kai tried to get in behind the guy who knew exactly what was happening and pulled him back. First yellow card of the game is on the way to Harrison Mackay.
Yeah, well, cynical, wasn't it? Magahi. Referee explaining. Left with absolutely no option, really. Tries to get too tight. The pace of Kai is going to be too much for him.
Towering centre-back is booked. Quite a high line here from Rochdale as Forster-Caskey bends that ball in. This is how it looks at the bottom of the table right now. That is where Rochdale find themselves. They have to better what Oldham do. At the moment, it's still goalless at Sixfields between Northampton and Oldham.
Like I say, they've just lost that little bit of attacking momentum. They need to find a way of just getting it back a bit again.
Perfect ball there from Ben Amos, looking for Esri Konza, but Inman pounced. That's Doan. Kashi intervening for Charlton, as he so often does. Now it's Marshall on the run here for Charlton Athletic. Threw in the foul. It's another foul in this game.
Well, that's what he brings to the table, and that's what Charlton have in abundance, isn't it? Mobility, pace, off the top end of that pitch. To cause most defenders problems. It really does another one that loves getting the ball and running and committing defenders. And this time, Rathbone tempted into the challenge.
Maybe a little bit of fear in the eyes of Mark Marshall when he sees the playoffs approaching again. 3 times he's had his heart broken in them. Millwall, normally the team that is doing it to him. Once again, it's Jake Forster-Caskey who is taking charge of this Charlton Athletic set piece. Josh Lillis offering the left-hand side of his goal, and that's where he went.
Well, I wonder how confident Josh Lillis was that this was missing the target. The goalkeeper starts to come across, and then he almost stops. Look, in praise, he's nowhere near it, is he? I'll tell you what, that is a very, very decent effort. To say a little prayer there, Josh Lillis.
Coming through the crowd. That's Camps. Konza this time, the centre-back playing it right back again this evening for Charlton. Another free kick, this time Zyro left in a heap.
It really frustrates me when central defenders do that. It's going nowhere, Zyro. Absolutely nowhere. Keep your hands off him.
Rebo, Kai unable to link up with De Silva, but he's had the presence of mind to win the ball back. And the shot from Forster-Caskey, no real trouble for Lillis.
Well, he's made it look a lot easier than it actually was, Josh Lillis, really. This ball is bouncing just in front of him. It's good work from Kai. It's a decent effort from Forster-Caskey. And Charlton, as we said, was mostly Rochdale the opening 15 minutes, but certainly Charlton Athletic are slowly but surely taking a grip of this game and looking a little more likely, as you can see there.
That shot blocked. Could have been dangerous. He goes behind for a Rochdale corner. Rathbone on the surge, unable to really test Ben Amos. Big block in front of him. Here come Rochdale again.
Well, they are winning all those aerial duels, aren't they? Corners, free kicks. They've got to maybe try and take advantage of that.
Another goal at the Priestfield. Gillingham are back in front. Tom Eaves has struck to make it 2-1 against Plymouth Argyle. And it looks like Plymouth's heroic run from bottom to the top 6 from December to now is coming to an end, and they will just fall short. Charlton are not falling short. That's a Rebo.
It's disappointing, really. Look at all the red shirts in the penalty area. He's got to try and miss the first man. De Silva does really, really well. Delays his pass into the right moment. And look at the red shirts flooding in there.
Pierce is at the far post. There's Camps. And just about kept that ball in play, but there wasn't too much he could do with it. There's Zyro. Faced by Magai. Forster-Caskey. Stones header away to make sure that didn't drop to Marshall. Forster-Caskey. That's Delaney. Rochdale do like to play an easy on the eye brand of football. It's in the club's DNA under Keith Hill. That's Stone taking aim, and it wasn't too far away. But it's a style of football they play from the youth team to the first team.
It's a decent strike. Matty Doan. Ben Amos always had it covered.
There has been a huge goal at the bottom of the table at the Sixfield Stadium. Rochdale, who need to better Oldham's result to stay alive in League One. Oldham are in front George Edmondson with that strike. Oldham, as it stands, will stay up and Rochdale will go down.
Yeah, if it stays like that, he's powerless.
Some just checking to confirm that news, but Rochdale, at the moment, there's nothing they can do about it. If Oldham win, they stay up. But Rochdale just need to make sure they get something here, just in case Northampton respond. Northampton as good as down ahead of kickoff this evening. And he can't influence what goes on hundreds of miles away from here in Northampton.
No, absolutely not.
Henderson unable to link up with Andrew. He commits the foul on Jason Pearce. Charlton have managed to disrupt Rochdale's rhythm after Rochdale raced out of the blocks.
Yeah, it was a promising start, wasn't it? Charlton have just taken a grip really in terms of restricting Rochdale, possibly looking the more threatening going forward.
Forced Stakaski with a free kick. Delaney beaten in the air. Pearce will try and keep it alive here, but he came from an offside position. Well, it is looking bleak at the moment for Keith Hill and Rochdale. He does have Rochdale in his heart and soul. He was a player here before getting the top job. He has pictures and memories all over his house of his time here. An empty picture frame is waiting for an heroic last day rescue act in the Hill household.
Well, if that is going to happen, they are going to have to inject a bit more energy and a bit more tempo into this game. They're going to have to put Charlton under much more pressure than they've been able to do, certainly for the last 20 minutes anyway.
De Silva trying to get to that and succeeds. There's Aribo. Rathbone's after him. He's managed to give Rathbone the slip. This is Sully Kaikai. Three in the middle here for Charlton. Sully Kaikai seen off for now. De Silva on the follow-up.
Decision making from Kaikai not really good. Lots of support from his teammates there. Desperate for a goal maybe. The blinkers on.
Kashi's cross, a searching cross as well, and Marshall couldn't quite get to it.
Oh, that is quality from Kashi. Teases the ball into a wonderful area for attackers to go and attack. Marshall's not a million miles away.
Another goal at the Priestfield Stadium. And it's gone Gillingham's way. Tom Eaves again, 3-1 to Gillingham. And it looks like a sad end for Plymouth Argyle this season, but let's not forget the incredible work that they have done to get to the last day with an opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. It is looking bleak for Plymouth, but you have to remember where they've come from. This time last season, League Two. A wonderful job there, Derek Adams. I'm sure most people connected with Plymouth Argyle, although disappointed today, will feel it's been a really good campaign.
Andrew moving for that, getting his head on the ball. Marshall, the lead off the ball. The man who won it back for Rochdale. When he arrived back here in the summer, was hoping to lead a playoff charge. They weren't too far off them last season, Rochdale. Conser managing to recover from his slip.
That's the disappointing thing, isn't it? This time last year, they were going into the final game with a little outside chance of a playoff spot.
Eye on the charge forward here from centre-back. Fruitless in the end. He's not afraid to carry the ball out, as we've just seen from the back, Harrison Maguire. There's Jimmy McNulty, who used to count Wayne Rooney as a teammate for 4 years during his time in the youth team at Everton. Camps. Rathbone almost dropped to Andrew.
It's just those little breaks that they need inside that Charlton Athletic penalty area. Not quite falling for them at the moment.
Oldham leading at Northampton, which would send Rochdale down. Plymouth 3-1 down at Gillingham, which would confirm Charlton's place in the top 6 and in the playoffs. Sully Kaikai. It's Harrison Maguire. Andrew screaming for the ball through the middle. Maguire again. Forward by Rafferty. Calvin Andrew wasn't too sure where he was, and he's offside.
It looked fairly close from where we were. He just doesn't get back quite in time.
Made the best ever start as a Charlton manager, 19 points from 9 games. It even beats the legendary Jimmy Seed's start, the man who tried to sign Sir Stanley Matthews for Charlton. He's leading them into the playoffs as it stands. There's Sully Kaikai, dangerous ball, and it was Delaney who was perfectly placed for Rochdale.
And the longer this game goes on, the better Charlton Athletic are looking. It's been a wonderful start to Lee Bowyer's career. Charlton Athletic, you've got to remember, they'd only taken 1 point in the 4 games prior to him taking over the reins. Turned it round big style.
Well, they were moving in the right direction under Carl Robinson, who eventually had his resignation accepted as he moved to Oxford United. Then Lee Bowyer stepped up to the plate. But amid the backdrop, or against the backdrop of the unrest, the fans protest against the owners, but they've been 100% supportive of the players. For the players and the management team, including Carl Robinson, to get to where they are for Charlton Athletic has been some story.
Well, it has. Rarely do you get a club that succeeds when there's problems between the fans and the owner. Some good examples of dissatisfaction, and the Hull City being a prime one, and West Ham another one. Rarely can you achieve anything successful.
Here's Marshall. Charlton no doubt would have expected the storm, which did come their way in the opening 10-15 minutes here from a team which is fighting for their lives, but they weathered that storm.
It was the big moment in the game, wasn't it? Henderson opportunity. Back back him to score that, weren't you, 99 times out of 100.
Thumped away by McNulty. Henderson. It's Kashi stepping in. Good to see Ahmed Kashi fully fit. He's had a couple of seasons ruined by Achilles issues. He's been such an integral part of this Charlton Athletic team this season. Aribo. Zarro making the move. McNulty in the way. And this now is Rafferty. Looks like some news has reached the Rochdale fans. We will tell you if anything has happened at Sixfields.
It's reached them before it's reached us, if it has.
Can I just say, I have been in crowds before where misinformation has been relayed.
I've been on pitches as a player where misinformation has been relayed as well. It does happen.
I won't tell you where I was. Rathbone's ball in, straight at Ben Amos. Well, there is news. Matt Grimes has equalised for Northampton against Oldham. We're into one additional minute. Here is that Northampton equaliser. Matt Grimes, the man who has cruelly thumped that penalty home. 1-1 between Northampton and Oldham.
I'll tell you what, that will just change that team talk a little bit at half-time. That will give everybody encouragement, because Rochdale, although they're still under that important line, they are right back in the game.
They just have to better Oldham's result. Goalless at the break in Rochdale. Ian Henderson having the best opportunity. A gilt-edged chance early on in the half, but his effort from point-blank range came back off the post. A win as it stands would do for Rochdale. As it stands, Charlton will be top six at the break. It's Rochdale 0, Charlton Athletic 0.
Welcome back to Spotland. 0-0 here between Rochdale and Charlton. Rochdale fighting for their League One survival. Stuart McCall is alongside me. When you are fighting for that survival, Stuart, when a chance as gilt-edged as this drops to your leading goal scorer, surely you expect it to hit the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, we built him up before the game. What a good finisher is, and yeah, I mean, he does.
Too quick. Does it come back to him?
Not really. I think he does everything well. He follows it in. It's good contact, but just he's got to score, and it's. You know, Camps hits them free kicks, they dip a little bit. I mean, I think the keeper should hold it, should save it. But Henderson there, all alone. You give him that 99 times out of 100, he scores, and, you know, big miss.
And when we look at another opportunity with Rob Delaney, huge header as well. Are we seeing Rochdale with the lion's share of the best chances in this first half?
Yeah, again, set pieces, they have been dangerous. Again, it's another one. In our day, the keeper used to catch them, now they parry them out. I mean, it's a bread and butter header. I think the keeper should just collect that, really. But you know, the early part of the game, they're putting the pressure on, and then Charlton's come into it as we've gone on.
And Ryan Delaney perhaps a threat from set pieces.
Yeah, Delaney. Calvin Andrews not shown what he can do yet. He's a big threat up top, and I expect a bit more of him second half.
And when we look at how the permutations could possibly happen in this game, it's Rochdale that need to better the result between Northampton and Oldham. And now we can tell you that Northampton are actually 2-1 up against Oldham. This is how close this is getting, Stuart, towards the end of the season. Ash Taylor putting Northampton ahead. So this, again, changes the permutations, perhaps, of what Keith Hill's chat is at half-time. They've come from behind there to lead against Oldham.
Well, I noticed the game kicked off about 3 or 4 minutes later, so whether they've got an advantage on that, but for them to come back and bounce into head, I mean, pressure's on Oldham now.
Because this, as it stands, this is Rochdale safe in Sky Bet League One, isn't it?
Exactly. Rochdale have just got to focus on what they can do. A draw at this moment in time is good enough, but they've just got to keep playing how they have. Oldham down there, the goalie's made a couple of errors. He gave the penalty away, and that was an error there. So the pressure's on.
So when we talk about perhaps what Keith Hill's doing, it's got to address this at half-time, surely, going into the second half.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know, because I think when they went in, the fans thought it was 1-1 at the time, which it was. Now, whether that's been relayed to the dressing room, Keith will be calm about it. He'll be pleased how they started the game, but against Charlton, with the pace they've got on the counter-attack, it's always dangerous. They can't afford to lose it naturally. So it's a bit of cat and mouse, and it'll develop as the game goes on.
OK, so plenty of permutations to keep across of in this game. The fans have found out. They realise exactly what the score is at Sixfields between Northampton and Oldham, because if it stays as it is, it will be Rochdale that stay in Sky Bet League One. Pressure is mounting for some of these home fans. The second half is coming up next. OK, for the second half here at Spotland, 0-0 between Rochdale and Charlton. Your commentary team of Don Goodman and Gary Weaver.
Thank you, David. Well, when Rochdale went off at half-time, they were relegated. They've come back out. They're staying up. That is how this game can change. Rochdale goalless at the break here against Charlton Athletic, but that goal from Ash Taylor to put Northampton in front at Sixfields means Oldham, as it stands, will be going down. But there are still 45 minutes to play.
Well, they're a goal away, either here or at Northampton. They're a goal away from this all changing one way or another, so they have to be mindful of that, and they have to try and win this game. They win this game. Sorry, I was going to say, if they win this game, it obviously means that Oldham are going to have to score another 2.
Yeah, Charlton Athletic getting the second half underway. They know they are safe in the top 6. Unless there really is a football miracle from a Plymouth Argyle perspective. But Charlton at the moment heading towards the playoffs. It was Rochdale who started the better, but then Charlton found their rhythm. They want the free kick there, but the referee is not interested. That's Inman. There's Harrison Mackay. Any player to be booked in that first half. Charlton have made a couple of changes here today. Lee Bowyer with one eye on the playoffs on Thursday. It was a calculated risk, because a 6-goal swing, 3-0 either way, would have changed the picture, but Charlton firmly in control of that top 6 spot. That's Camps. Now Rafferty. There's Jay De Silva. He hesitated and he's had to dig his heels, and in the end, he's come out on top. And Rathbone working hard, former Manchester United youngster, to try and keep Charlton penned in.
Rochdale need their fans. It's Charlton fans still making all the noise. Rochdale fans still edgy and nervous. I think the players can give them a big lift just by upping the tempo in their play. It's fairly comfortable for Charlton Athletic. Surprisingly so.
Pearce looking over his shoulder. You'll see that Calvin Andrews about. Camera to play for there, Jason Pearce.
He's on the gravel as well, so doesn't look amused, does he?
1,500 Charlton fans in attendance here at the Crown Oil Arena in Rochdale, and for once this season they are smiling. They've had so many seasons of turmoil. They're facing in the right direction. They've got momentum as well. So important when it comes to the playoffs.
I want to keep that momentum going. It's an opportunity here for them to win this game.
Just unable to pick out Jay De Silva.
Well, he's looked useful, hasn't he? Coming forward on that left-hand side. That's where they've got an advantage. It looks to me as if Charlton have got a little bit more pace and mobility in their team. So far managed to exploit that.
His 2 brothers came through the academy at Luton, Jay De Silva. he switched to Chelsea, where Jay Da Silva won 3 FA Youth Cups. Inman trying to shake off Konza. Waiting at the far post, and trying to make room for the cross, which he did in the end, but Bauer perfectly placed for Charlton.
Well, that's better from Inman. We gave him the big build-up before the game, didn't we, about his creativity, and he knows where the goal is. Very, very quiet in that first half, but just made a good run there. Need a bit more of that from him.
Seems a promising youngster during his time at Newcastle, Brad Inman. That's Kashi. Henderson. Bauer read the situation. Kashi, then Da Silva. There's a Rebo. Da Silva powering forward again for Charlton. Rebo's there with him. He's found a Rebo, who again look for Da Silva. Those two combining down the left-hand side, but Charlton run out of pitch.
Yeah, again, it's never on really, the pass for Da Silva. Rochdale had it covered.
Well, Ben Amos at that end, where Josh Lillis was wearing a cap in the first half. The sun is still shining into the eyes of the fans behind that end, but Ben Amos preferring not to wear a cap. You don't see it often these days that goalkeepers wear caps.
Not really. Confident he can see enough.
Some big, important saves against Blackburn Rovers last week, Ben Amos. Who at one stage was hoping to move ahead of David De Gea in the pecking order at Manchester United when De Gea was having a shaky start just down the road at Old Trafford. Seems daft to say now, doesn't it? De Gea, shaky start.
Well, I remember it. I think I did the Community Shield in his debut, and he was a little bit shaky, but distant memory, innit?
Forster-Kaski. Konza. There's Zyro. Trying to shake off Delaney. Wants it back, Zyro. He gets it back from Aribo. Blocked by Maguire. 5 back in by Da Silva. There's Sully Kai. Kai deflected. Corner for Charlton.
Well, that's not good defending from Rochdale. He should not be allowed to turn and get a shot away so easily there, Sully Kai. Rochdale get away with it a little bit, but there he's got to be closed down. He can't be allowed to turn there. Jim McNulty needs to get tighter.
Kai in conversation just in front of Josh Lillis. Man-to-man marking from Rochdale. Bauer trying to come through the crowd. There was a push in there.
There's two big lads that they've got to aim for there, and they come up from the back, Pearce and Bauer. The referee spots an infringement there.
Andrew moving for that. He's won quite a lot in the air this evening, Calvin Andrew.
Yeah, yet nobody's running off him. That's disappointing from his perspective, really, because it is an avenue I do feel that Rochdale could exploit, especially on the diagonal ball. If you get the diagonal ball to him, you know that he's going to win the majority of those knockdowns, and then you get runners running off him. It's a good avenue, not being exposed.
Field Stadium. It is all over for Plymouth Argyle now. 4-1 to Gillingham. A hat-trick for Tom Eaves. Charlton Athletic will be in the playoffs. Glorious failure for Plymouth Argyle this evening in Kent. Charlton's place is secure.
Well, they'll want to go into the playoffs in a real positive mindset, and the way that they can do that is to avoid defeat here. Another clean sheet would be great, I'm sure. Appreciated by Lee Bowyer, but the really impressive thing as well is that they have had in Lee Bowyer's tenure to play many of those in the top area of that league. They've come out really well in those games.
Well, I mentioned we're right amongst the Charlton fans here. There's such a party atmosphere here, a real togetherness about the fans and the players. Played amongst that backdrop of what's going on off the pitch. But this man has really brought the club together, as did Carl Robinson before him as well. Winning games always helps. They'll tell you that at Blackburn Rovers, not too far away from here.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, it's really good for these fans to have something to cheer about, and shout about. A difficult period in the club's history.
With the flick, Ian Henderson taking the shot early.
I think it's an area of the pitch where they've disappointed me a little bit, Rochdale. Their decision-making has not been great. At last, Calvin Andrew gets the runner off him. It's Henderson, but it's going to take something unbelievable from there. He had support, had his man 1v1 if he wanted to try and take him on. So for me, it's a poor decision.
Here come Rochdale again. Andrew will give chase to that, but Charlton in control.
It's Cashy again, mopping up, isn't it? He does that really well. Probably goes unnoticed to most, but certainly spotted it.
He's a huge favourite with the fans, like Ben Cashy, because of his ability to tidy things up, to read the game, to step in. That's Delaney. Watching the back from Kaikai. Delaney moves forward from the back. From the goals to his name so far this season.
I'm really surprised that he's the only one of the three central defenders that goes forward.
Sent in by Maguire. Andrew. And a tussle there with Bauer.
Again, it's another victory for him in the air. If I were Rochdale, I would be trying to make more use of that.
A couple of relegations on his CV with Swindon and Luton. He doesn't want to add to that. Calvin Andrew. Sully Kaikai. Just gesturing towards his Rochdale players just to try and lift things here. They will be aware that Oldham are losing at Northampton.
Shouldn't really change too much in how they go about this, Rochdale.
Rochdale, which has an Oldham postcode. That's how close these two clubs are. At the moment, it's Oldham who are fearing the drop. There's Marshall of Charlton Athletic. Chris Dunphy is the chairman here. Rochdale, he's from Milnrow. He has Rochdale in his blood. He used to walk the 4 miles from his home as a child with his mates to watch his beloved Dale. He runs a tight ship here. When he first became involved 38 years ago, they were £200,000 in debt to the Inland Revenue. Since then, they've not been in debt. He makes sure the wage bill is never much higher than 50% of the turnover. They have a tight budget here. It's bottom 2 in League One. His other business, heating churches and cathedrals.
Well, credit to him. You can really see the stress and the pain he's going through here this evening, can't you?
Every single one of the board of directors here is a Rochdale fan. The flag is up against Inman. It's not often you get a whole board of directors who are fans, but the Rochdale board are, and they go to every game. They take 7 or 8 directors every game, which is unusual for a football club to take that many directors to away games. Charlton will be making a change shortly. Ben Reeves will be coming on.
Lee Bowie will know what is happening at Priestfield Stadium. He will have half an eye on just maybe resting some players.
Played here, goalless between Rochdale and Charlton. Still Northampton lead Oldham by 2 goals to 1. They are 7 minutes behind this game at Northampton.
Well, it's all looking pretty rosy in the garden at the moment for Rochdale, and I say that in terms of in the second half. Charlton have barely laid a glove on Rochdale. They haven't really started this second half yet, Charlton Athletic.
Making their change. And Reeves coming on to replace Jake Forster-Caskey. Lee Bowyer can now begin to rest a few more players. And in terms of Ben Reeves, bring players on to get them back into rhythm. And Reeves, an important signing from MK Dons in the summer. Has really found his feet at the Lee Bowyer. Henderson. That's Pearce. Rochdale on the front foot again, but again it's Cashy who's read it. Most of his time in French football. Bounces away from Inman. That's Konza. Delaney tidying up for Rochdale. Andrew. There's Marshall. Now Cashy. Lovely balance about this Charlton midfield. The Silva foot down on the gas to get there. Just beaten to it by Rafferty. There's been a goal at the Sixfield Stadium. It's not good news for Rochdale. An equalising goal from Tom Hamer for Oldham Athletic. And suddenly it twists again. Rochdale are back in the bottom 4. They have to better Oldham's result.
Well, again, I spoke about how Charlton hadn't really threatened the Rochdale goal. Rochdale have barely threatened the Charlton goal either in the second half. So something, as it stands, is going to have to change for Rochdale.
Rochdale bench are in touch with what is going on at Sixfields. He would rather focus on this, but as we said in the first half, there's so much misinformation at this time of year about what's going on elsewhere that they have to stay in touch with what's happening. Callum Camps, Henderson on the far side. Camps goes for goal and trying to catch out Ben Amos, who got down to it.
I think Ian Henderson will be disappointed, really. Callum Camps, there, the ball was on for him, for Henderson. Made a good run. In the end, maybe doesn't spot it. At least he hits the target and forces a save from Amos. Keep talking about that decision-making, though. It is those fine lines. Maybe a little pass to Henderson there. Could have set the top scorer free. He'll be praying for another big opportunity.
He's not from here, Ian Henderson, born in East Anglia, but a huge fan favourite, a club icon here at Rochdale. 20 goals this season. He should have scored in the first half. They need something from him now, but he's just committed the foul.
That's a huge gamble Jay De Silva just takes there, being closed down by two Rochdale players.
Change imminent from Rochdale. Midfielder Joe Thompson and striker Stephen Davis have been called for by Keith Hill. Pierce in command ahead of Andrew again.
He scored a big goal late on in the FA Cup, didn't he, Stephen Davis? How Rochdale could do with him repeating that feat.
Jay De Silva kept a cool head. Moved on by Kai. There's a Rebo. Faced by Rafferty. Charlton with plenty in the box here. That's Marshall. Zarro was rating, but McNulty dealt with it.
And there's a threat that Charlton possess.
So a double change here from Rochdale as they look to try and break the deadlock here. On comes Joe Thompson, off goes Oliver Rathbone. Joe Thompson, who knows the true meaning of survival, he has twice beaten cancer, which puts this into perspective. And Jimmy McNulty leaves the field. On comes Stephen Davis, which would suggest a change in system.
Yeah, you think they'll probably go 4-4-2, wouldn't you? They've got real physical presence up the front there with those strikers. They really have got to try and utilise that.
Signed by Derby, he's a 20-year-old from Tranmere. Stephen Davis, been around at Blackpool, Bradford. He does usually make an impact from the bench. And as Don mentioned, he scored that late goal against Tottenham. Zyro. There's Marshall. Conser ahead of it. Marshall didn't pick his head up. Conser's frustrated, but Charlton are not done yet. Marshall now delivers the cross. Zyro up at the far post, but couldn't keep the header down.
Well, that's a better chance than he's made it look, I think. Mark Marshall ignores the run of Conser, who was frustrated, wasn't he, really? But Marshall gets to the byline, stands a great ball up. Always favourite there, Zyro. Having got the run and the jump, he really should have been doing better for me. For Rochdale all season has been scoring goals. I mean, looks healthy enough, doesn't it? 10 attempts, but really I can't remember Ben Amos overly extended.
Rochdale need a goal either here or at Northampton as we head into the final quarter of this game. A reminder, Charlton are safe in the top 6. Plymouth losing at Gillingham. Another change on the way shortly from Rochdale. Sam Hart, the fullback, will be coming on. Inman has Davis. Rafferty. Davis was in the middle. Was there a push in there from Conser? The referee has a look and says no. And now it's Thompson! Well, he's won his own real survival fight. Football is nothing compared to that. But that is a hugely important goal, which may just keep Rochdale in League One.
Wow, what a substitution by Keith Hill. What an impact Joe Thompson has just had, not only on this game, but on Rochdale's season, on Rochdale Football Club, and where they may be playing their football next season. Then claims for a penalty for me, but once it falls to Joe Thompson, only one thing in his mind. There's a wonderful touch in here. I mean, there's a dangerous push by Conser, gets away with it, but doesn't get away with that. Shifts it onto that left foot, keeps the ball hard, keeps the ball low, goes through bodies, goes through legs. Amos, no chance, and look what it means to Keith Hill, and what could it mean to Rochdale. Absolutely vital goal.
It's some story. It's his first goal since February 2017. A man who was twice beaten cancer. That's the real survival battle. It puts everything into perspective. But here, Rochdale have hit the front against Charlton. They need to better Oldham's result at the moment. They are doing just that.
Well, could be the longest 20 minutes for all of these people connected with Rochdale.
Steffi Mabadidi has been brought on by Charlton. He replaces Sully Kaikai, a bit more of a physical presence now alongside Michael Zyro. Well, there is Jesus Sanchez, Rochdale fan, first time here. He'd never left Spain until this weekend. Rochdale fans have raised £500 to pay for the airfare and the ticket. It could be quite a day for him. It could be quite a day for Rochdale.
Oh, they've got to take a deep breath now, Rochdale. They've done what they needed to do. Now they must not concede. Still are only one goal away from that situation changing again. Whether it's a goal here or whether it's a goal in Northampton, they're still only one goal away from the whole picture changing again.
Still 2-2 between Northampton and Oldham. Conser with the free kick for Charlton. This is Henderson. You just wonder how the nerves will kick in as the seconds tick by here. Thompson. Hooked away by Pearce. Thompson again. Keith Hill made the changes and they paid off.
Now there's a physicality about that Rochdale forward line now, with the addition of Stephen Davis. And it was a ball helped into the danger area that Charlton Athletic didn't deal with. It didn't clear the lines. Rochdale took advantage.
Harrison Mackay has Mabadidi breathing down his neck. On loan at Charlton from Arsenal. He was on loan not too far away from here at Preston North End earlier this season. Ben Reeves. Henderson. Touched on by Kashi.
Well, game management really, really important now, and it's not something that they've excelled at. I have to say, they've scored first in the past. They've got a terrible record, but this is the one time that they will not want to throw points away from a winning position. Scourge of their season. And this is the reason that they are battling for their very survival in League One. Look at that, 32 points from winning positions. I mean, that is an incredible amount to throw away, and it just highlights a lack of game management.
Steffi Mabadidi. Mabadidi stopped in the end. It was Harrison Mackay with the block. The kind of spirit Rochdale need now. Konza.
They need the spirit, and they also need the composure to see this job through.
Rochdale have spent 2/3 of their existence existing in the bottom tier. Some used to call it the Rochdale division. They are no strangers to it. Times have been much harder than this though for Rochdale. In the old days, before promotion from the National League came into being, Rochdale to apply for re-election a few times. Once they were sure they would be kicked out, but at the vote, a director from another club didn't quite make it because of the traffic, and they were convinced he was going to vote against them. So things have been worse than this for Rochdale, but at the moment, the sun is smiling on them. Fans making themselves heard here. They look to get their team over the line. Rochdale are doing all they can right now. Gillingham 4-1 up against Plymouth, which means Charlton is safe in the top 6. That is done. But that score there at Sixfields, 2-2 between Northampton and Oldham, means Rochdale are safe at the moment. Likewise from Davis.
Well, it's not very often in life that you would wish your life away, but 15 minutes, you must be praying that they go quickly, looking at the watch. Checking the phone, yeah, absolutely. I wonder what he's looking at on that phone.
Just to check his watch is right, and probably for him it was, which he wouldn't have been too happy with. Waiting for news from Northampton, or maybe hoping no further news comes from Northampton. Mabadidi just likes to run from out wide, looking to cause Rochdale problems.
Well, they've got players like him in abundance, haven't they, that good at running with the ball, committing defenders again. Lures a Rochdale player into committing a foul. The big central defenders are up. And Rochdale have to stand firm.
His loan spell cut short at Charlton because of injury last season, Mabadidi. Zyro trying to leave his calling card. The flag has come up.
Oh, Joe Thompson. 25 career goals prior to tonight in his whole career, but has he ever scored one more important than this? I think the answer will be an emphatic no. It's a wonderful first touch to take the ball away from the defender. He strikes it hard and low. Look what it means.
Well, difficult for a club the size of Rochdale to go about his business around here. The Manchester 2 are just 12 miles away. There are many from this town who travel the 15 miles to watch Burnley. That is a fact of life here. They're a club which has defied the odds to be in this division, a club which, as I mentioned earlier, is never in debt. Managers on the phone as soon as they're into the overdraft, if they ever drop into their overdraft. They survive on producing players, and players that they sign from elsewhere, that they sell on, the likes of Ricky Lambert and Scott Hogan. Brought in £3 million to this football club. Vital money.
Yeah, well, you wondered whether the FA Cup run, which also brought in much-needed revenue, would end up being a scourge, really, would end up being one of the reasons. I mean, this is the 60th game they've played this season, Rochdale. 60 games. Wonderful in the FA Cup.
Brad Inman, the Australian, cheering this one up. Delaney makes his move. Delaney gets to it. And Thompson looking to pounce again. Thompson with the cool head. That's Davis. A real power to trouble Amos.
I'm just really surprised, having scored a goal already, that Joe Thompson just doesn't put his foot through this on his left foot. We've already seen he can hit it with his left foot, turns it down, and really, chance is gone then. Ten minutes away.
A reminder, just to add to the drama, Northampton are 7 minutes behind this game. It was never going to be straightforward. Dome with the throw. Andrew the inevitable target. Header won by Pearce. Henderson.
He'll be a relieved man, won't he? Ian Henderson. One of the most relieved men in this stadium, I would suggest.
Sorry with the flick, looking to link up with Mabadidi. Lovely control from Inman, trying to move away from Concert and drew in the foul. All about the first touch there from Brad Inman. He's looking cool, isn't he, Keith Hill? Others, maybe not, a little bit more nervous. Battling with Pearce on that particular duel. That's the head of Rafferty, who's got the free kick.
He's done really well. Joe Rafferty in the second half, I have to say, slotted back into that right back position, orthodox right back. Mopped up, sniffed a couple of pieces of danger at the other end of the pitch.
Davis, another target here for Rochdale to try and hit. Comes off Andrew. Here's from behind the goal there from the Rochdale fans. On ball was the shout, the referee unmoved. Not too many appeals from the Rochdale players. There's Marshall. Konza, player who's attracting a lot of attention from the Premier League. Marshall.
See, again, if anything comes from this, I really would not be happy if I were Keith Hill with Callum Camm. Scott Marshall facing his own goal, away from danger. Do not foul him.
It's that kind of decision-making which cost Rochdale and Helen Camps last week with the 2 penalties he conceded at Oxford. And the 2-1 defeat. Conser gliding forward, it's opened up for him. Esri Conser, no one on the end of it.
Well, he's got his arms out in frustration again. It's another wonderful ball into a very dangerous area. It's really, really well, Conser. The right back teases the ball in. No takers. Big physical presence. Who's got a fistful of shirt there? Patrick Bauer on Calvin Andrew. Look at that. Again, referee, you would think, would spot that in the penalty area. Maybe that's the debate, maybe.
Well, Rochdale are about to make this change shortly. They've been waiting for a while. It was going to come on Sam Hart before Rochdale scored. Keith Hill looks to repeat the trick. Five and a half minutes left here, plus additional time. Still it remains 2-2 at Northampton. Rochdale are staying up as it stands. This is how it looks. Rochdale, not too long ago, were 12 points adrift. They had 4 games in hand, but playing those 4 games in hand has been a grind. They've been playing every 3 days. Zyro, offside again against Charlton.
Every little second that is wasted is vital for Rochdale. Take the time getting this ball back and taking this free kick.
So on comes Sam Hart, and the man who he will replace is Brad Inman. Sam Hart on loan here from Blackburn Rovers, having signed for Blackburn from Liverpool last summer. Played in Liverpool's pre-season friendly against Mainz the summer before last. We decided it was time to head off last summer, off to Blackburn, and now here on loan at Rochdale. Trying to conjure something up for Rochdale. The referee again has a look at that and says there was no foul on Davis. And this is Mark Marshall for Charlton. Kashi. They are about to move into the 80th minute at Northampton. There's a Rebo. Kashi venturing forward. Ben Reeves. Kashi again. This is De Silva. Mabadidi venturing in from a wide position. Difficult to stop when running with the ball, Mabadidi. It's Kashi. And there's a Rebo. Conser's ball in. Is there a foul in there? The referee says no. Ben Reeves, the man who was pulled to the deck.
Was definitely grappling. There's no doubt about that. Joe Rafferty, Charlton fans around us, really not happy.
Well, it was conceding penalties which cost them last week. That's Bauer. Again, the flag will frustrate Charlton.
Really moaning about that, but they are having a moan at the referee, Tony Harrington. They felt that Joe Rafferty here, he's got his arms all over Ben Reeves. Look at that, hauls him down. Tell you what, lucky, lucky, lucky boy. For me, that should be a penalty. Madness, absolute madness. Got away with it.
Could that be a moment of fortune for Rochdale, a moment that they need? Charlton have brought on Jonathan Jackson, who will be retiring at the end of the season, and he has replaced Joe Aribo. There you go. He's the man who's replaced Johnny Jackson, who will be hanging up his boots. Could have prolonged his career by moving elsewhere, but he wanted to say goodbye to his playing days as a Charlton player, and then he will be a full-time member of the coaching staff. Camps. Forward by Doan. Davis being held on the edge of the box. Again, there was a quick release, though, by Pearce. There's Marshall, hunted down by Hart. Rochdale pressing and trying to win the ball back. Andrew involved. Was he pulled back by Marshall? Marshall then has a nibble at Camps. There's Henderson. Thompson, a man whose goal could prove vital. Into 4 additional minutes. Rochdale are doing their bit. It's still 2-2 at Northampton. They're in the 84th minute.
Well, that is all Rochdale can do, is to do their bit, uphold their end of the bargain. So Charlton have probably been pretty decent opposition in terms of probably knew their playoff berth was secured. They haven't really played with any great urgency for me, Charlton Athletic, and that has really helped Rochdale, I think.
Some cannot watch. The goal here for Charlton changes everything. Sam Hart has made a dash through the middle. Stride for stride by Konza, who slips. It is not a foul. It's been a tale of drawing games this season for Rochdale. I mentioned earlier they've only lost 2 more games than Rotherham.
It's been those draws, hasn't it, really? Particularly here, 12 draws here. Really could have hurt them. As it stands, they may have got away with it, but
there's Sam Hart, Calvin Andrew. There's a sign of the intent now for Rochdale. Go for the corner. Make sure the clock ticks down. Don't do anything daft. Don't take risks. Charlton are planning for the playoffs. They're safe in the top 6. This now is all about Rochdale and whether they can hang on here and whether Northampton can do them a favour against Oldham, which they are currently doing. Here's Andrew.
doing it well, aren't they? Rochdale running that clock down. Game management, as we've already pointed out, hasn't been the strength of theirs this season, but since taking the lead, they haven't really had any nervous moments at the opposite end. All the nerves are coming from hanging on to this and from what's going on at Northampton Town.
Well, that is trying to keep the ball in the corner. Look at that. It's in danger of boiling over. Davis involved for Rochdale. He was trying to use his body to shield the ball. Mark Marshall is the peacemaker. Incidentally, Gillingham 5-2 up now against Plymouth. Elsewhere, Wigan have won the League One title. Rochdale trying to stay alive in League One. Again, they go for the corner. And who can criticise them for that? Davis's physicality proving a problem for Charlton to try and win the ball back. Keith Hill, he's been labelled a miracle worker here by the board. As he come up with another magic trick here. This team are doing the job.
Well, he's only 48 years old, Keith Hill, and he's managed over 500 games at Rochdale alone, hasn't he? So, been around a long time, and he hasn't got a relegation on his CV.
Well, this club deals in dreams and fairy tales. Football still has room for the dreamers, and Rochdale could be hanging on to life in League One. This tiny club with a big heart are looking to defy the odds again. They are doing what they need to do. They now sit and wait and need a favour at Northampton. For Charlton Athletic, they prepare for the playoffs. They finish top 6. But now we wait and wonder as to what goes on. Over 100 miles away at Northampton. It remains 2-2 there, which means that Rochdale would stay up, but they're around about 7 minutes behind this game here, Don, just to add to the drama.
Well, it could be the longest 7 minutes of their lives, really. Now it's all eyes on Northampton against Oldham. Can Northampton do them a favour? Can they hold out? Rochdale have done their bit, they've done it well.
Johnny Jackson, it's the end of the regular season for the final time for him. He retires, but he may well have a part to play in the playoffs on the playing side. There's Joe Thompson. What a story. The man who scored the winning goal here, the man who could just have kept Rochdale safe in League One when you consider what he has been through. It is some story. So Charlton are in the playoffs, no doubt about that. But there are doubts about whether Rochdale remain in League One, because that game continues at Northampton with 5 minutes left to play there. Let's get some reaction from Joe Thompson. Let's join David Craig.
Joe, you're hanging on to Lula there. How much are you both hoping this stays the same as it is with about 10 minutes still to play at Northampton?
No, this is it. We've done our side of the deal as such, and we just have to wait and see.
How special a moment was that for you personally to get that goal?
Oh no, it's been a hard 12 months, and this one has been my motivation, haven't you, baby? And thankfully I've got the goal today, and I'm over the moon with it.
How proud are you of Daddy?
Yeah, very proud. Good,
very proud, you can tell. Listen, obviously you're watching what's going on at Northampton, but what was said at half-time?
I wasn't in there, I was warming up, but I'm sure it was 0-0. We still all to play for 45 minutes, and go give it your all.
The gaffer gambled with the double substitution. What did he say when he said you on?
No, massive gamble, and it's paid off. Credit to him. It was a gutsy and ballsy decision, and hopefully we've come through with it.
You must feel that you really deserve to hang on to this now, given the fact that you turned that gap of 12 points around.
Yeah, I know we was done and dusted at Christmas, but ever since then we've done really well, picked up quite a lot of points, and we'll just have to see how far it's taken us.
Well done, and listen, go and enjoy those final moments if you can.
No problem. Thank you very much.
You are the Sky Bet man of the match. Well done.
Appreciate it, guys.
Well, perhaps he might not enjoy these last few minutes, but Joe Thompson, let's be honest, has faced some huge challenges in his personal life, beaten them, and he's just waiting now for the result at Northampton and Oldham to stay the same, because if it does, currently 2-2 there, it means that Rochdale do maintain their League One status. Stuart McCall is alongside me on an afternoon of high drama. Stuart, how must the players and Keith Hill be feeling at this moment in time, and even more so the fans?
Oh, incredible. I mean, like you said, they've done their bit. We said at the top of the programme, you know, we thought they had enough quality to win the game. It was, you know, more important for them to win it, if you like. But I mean, what the situation is going to be down at Northampton, I'm sure Oldham will have everybody up, the goalie up in the last few minutes, and it's really nail-biting for obviously everyone connected with Rochdale.
And this is where they are, just in the bowels of Scotland here, looking at the Northampton game against Oldham. As it's ticking along, there's 4 minutes or so, we think, towards the end of that game. There's just literally nothing else these players can do. They've done their part, haven't they?
There isn't, exactly. They've gone and done their bit. And you see the support. It's a bit, again, a special mention for Joe Thompson there. You know, he obviously beat cancer once. It came back in March, and he's beat it again. And it's a fairy tale for him to come on and get the winner, which could, you know, keep Rochdale in this division.
And we look at perhaps who's involved in the club, when we look from the top down, and there seems to be a real togetherness here. Keith Hill's alluded to the fact that they are going to get seasons where they're not going to be battling near the top of the division, and they're going to get seasons such as this when someone like Ian Henderson, Joe Thompson, players that are real talismanic players for this club. There's a feeling that they deserve to stay in this division.
Yeah, as I said, you know, beginning of the season they had a lot of key players out injured. They got a fantastic run put together after a lot of games behind. And then in the last month, they've lost last-minute goals, drawn too many games, and seem to have shot themselves in the foot up till today. But a fantastic win for them, and it's now just wait and see, isn't it?
Do you think when we look at perhaps the way the season's panned out, we touched on at the top of the game, the cup run brings so many positive things, derailed them, so they're in a position where they're waiting for another opponent on the last day to get them out of trouble?
Well, yeah, but they've pulled out some terrific results, you know, since Christmas. Going down to Peterborough and winning there with 10 men, as we said before, when Henderson got sent off. But you know, this must be an absolute nightmare for them. But as we said, you know, they've done no bit. They've won the game. I thought over the piece, probably a draw might have been enough. But you know, it was a great goal for the kid and fully deserved.
Well, we're looking at the scenes here. Obviously, at least it's a beautiful sunny day. It's the first time really that we've felt this kind of end of season vibe, isn't it? But what these fans are feeling, is it a testament to football perhaps at League One level, where we're talking about fans that are so bonded to what the club is, to what the surrounding area is? These are the moments that, if it ends positively, really redefine what they feel as fans of Rochdale.
You know, you watch the fans here. You imagine what the Oldham fans are like at Northampton at this moment in time. The ball's probably flashing across a goal, keepers making saves, who knows? But yeah, mobile phones, they're used for everything these days, but to keep up with the scores, that's for sure.
And just a reminder there that we're waiting on the results from Sixfield. Northampton currently drawing 2-2 with Oldham, and to ensure their safety, they had to better that result today. Plenty for the thoughts of what's going on in the huddle there, Stuart.
Remember years and years ago back when Scarborough were on the pitch and celebrating, and then, you know, last-minute goal sort of derailed them. But you know, you'll see by the camera the scenes once the result comes through. But probably the fans in the stand will hear it before us, that's for sure.
When we look at perhaps how this season's going to finish for Rochdale, if it does end positively, the euphoria that they feel, I suppose planning for next year, do you decompress first? Because it's so emotionally charged today, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, listen, what Keith's done, he brings a lot of good players through, young players. Their academy is terrific, and they sell players on. You know, they lost Mendes Lang from last season, was outstanding for them. But again, in this group, they've got Maguire here at the back, Callum Camps. You know, they've got players in here that will go on and be sold on, no doubt. And Keith and his backroom staff will keep bringing people through and players through. But
just
they
a word
did the
on
job.
Keith Hill there, Stuart, a manager that you've come up against before, the way that he approaches the game and the approach he's running this football club. He seems to fit, doesn't he, Rochdale?
Yeah, very calm. Last season they were almost gotten into the playoffs a late run. But they've got a good group of players. He moulds them well together. You listen to some of his interviews after games. He can be very deep, very, very funny as well. But he's a football man, and but he'll have kept that dressing room calm today. I listened to his interview all week this week. They've trained hard, but they've also had a bit of fun, trying to take the pressure off the players, and that's what managers got to do.
Has that been imperative, those shades of light and dark in a situation such as this?
Yeah, this is absolutely. Oh, you feel for everyone, don't you? But yeah, you know, and he's got a good backroom staff with him. But you know, this is what football's about. The tenseness. This is what, you know, happens.
It's enthralling, isn't it? Even I'm on tense notes here, Stuart, just to see the real kind of emotions that all these fans are going through. God bless smartphones, though.
Well, exactly. But you know, on the other toss of the coin, there'll be a lot of Oldham fans watching this, sat in the living rooms or in the pubs, and you know, it's just. I don't understand why they're 7 minutes behind. You know, I think there hasn't been a serious injury or anything like that, I don't believe. So I think that's a bit, you know,
there was a minute's silence at the top. I mean,
yeah.
And then you obviously take into account the goals that were scored and the kicks off late. Obviously, it doesn't help with perhaps the nervous system, shall we say, of the Rochdale players, fans and chairman.
I mean, that could only help Oldham, because obviously in the last 7 minutes they've known that they need to get a goal. That's been a little bit slightly unfair on Rochdale, but you know, that's football and it just adds to the intensity.
Do you think, obviously, the reaction to this is something that we're waiting very patiently to see? I mean, not as patiently as perhaps the Rochdale players are just seeing the last few minutes at Sixfields. It's currently Northampton 2, Oldham 2. Oldham had actually taken the lead, and then Northampton stormed back to be winning 2-1. You can just see the looks on these Rochdale players' faces, and it's mirrored, in fact, by the emotion that we're feeling inside the ground at this moment in time. The Charlton fans are still here, happy enough that they're in the playoffs, planning for an extended season. And for Charlton, decent chance for them in the playoffs, Stu?
Yeah, they've got individuals. McGuinness never got on today. I think he could be a big player for them. They've got talented players. You know, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get with them. Oh, there you go.
I think these pictures speak for themselves, Stuart. There's confirmation there that between Northampton and Oldham it's 2-2, which means that they've bettered that result here at Sponheim, which means that Rochdale have pulled off the greatest of great escapes, and they will be in League One next season. There's no need to check that again, Mr. Chairman. We know exactly what the result is, Stuart. Wonderful scenes.
They're fantastic scenes. You know, they've had a fantastic run since Christmas, as we said. You know, but for every winner, there's obviously a loser, and you feel for Oldham as well, because you know, they've had their trials and tribulations. But you know, we're here today. Rochdale have done it, and when you win the last game of this season, you probably deserve to stay up.
It's the first time in 47 years. Just put in perspective that Oldham are in the bottom division. There is confirmation. Rochdale ending the season in 20th in Sky Bet League One, staying up by the solitary point. And I think it's safe to say, Stuart, that the party here in Rochdale is going to go on long into the night.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a few shandies drunk in that dressing room. I know Keith might have a little tipple, but yeah, it's what you do over 46 games, isn't it? And I keep saying, I think we've been unfortunate a lot of things. They're a better side than fifth bottom, that's for sure. You know, they've got better players than that. But at the end of it, you know, 2 months ago, they'd have snapped your hand off for it. If you could have said they're going to win the last game and then wait 7 agonising minutes, they'd have taken it out all day.
OK, we can head down to pitchside now, where Keith Hill is talking to David Craig.
Keith, many congratulations. We can see from the scenes out there what it means to everybody at the club. What does it mean to you?
It means a lot. I said I'd never, as a manager, celebrate surviving relegation, but the way we've done it, you know, 16 games ago we came up with a plan, we've executed it, it's been a roller coaster. It means an awful lot to a lot of people that we've retained our League One status, and I'm really pleased about that. And it's for all the honest people who work at this football club, the supporters, and for the players. The players have been magnificent. It's been a 60-game season. That was our 60th game. They've been superb, so I'm really pleased for everybody. And I'd like to thank all the players for everything that they've done this season.
When that gap was 12 points, how much confidence did you have to retain, and how much confidence did you have to retain for the players?
It was a question of coming up with a plan and making sure that it wasn't like... It had to be a slow burn. It had to be a 16-game plan. So we got together after we got knocked out against Tottenham. We said, this is what we've got to do. It could, and it probably will go to the last game of the season, but there can't be any panic, and we've got to be, you know, stick to our tasks. And we made sure that we've done it, and I'm really pleased for the players because they stuck to task, and there's been some highs, some lows. Last week was an all-time low, being beat by Oxford in the manner that we did, you know, but we regrouped. We had a little bit of fun during the week. We took a little bit of pressure off the players, and they took some great energy and some unbelievable determination and courage into this game.
Was it fitting that the man that got the goal was Joe Thompson, given what he's had to go through personally?
It is. There's no question about that. I give Joe a lot of stick. You know, he's never in my time of knowing Joe Thompson been a victim. He's courageous. But I won't have him being an excuse maker because of the conditions that he has, and he knows he's performed really well for me before he got the cancer, the second time and after. And it was just a question of making sure that we tailored his training programme for 20-minute spells, and he's done that today, and it's a great contribution he's made for this football club, and he comes from the town of Rochdale as well.
Now, just tell us honestly and truthfully, how was the heart rate during that 90 minutes, and how aware were you of things that were going on elsewhere?
Well, we were very aware of what was going on, but you try and focus on the plan and try and forget about what's going on with respect to the crowd's reaction, etc., etc. I tried to focus on the game plan and run it through. And when we knew that the score was 2 each, it was the right thing to do to bring one of the central defenders off, put an extra striker on, and see if we could get the win, and we ended up getting the win. So I'm really pleased for everybody at the football club. Everybody has held the nerve, the chairman, the board of directors, the chief exec, they've trusted in me, they believe in me, and we've executed the perfect 16 games, if you like, to make sure we avoided relegation.
Keith, congratulations.
Thank
Well
you very
done.
much. I appreciate your time.
Well, a wonderfully emotional reaction by Keith Thiel, the Rochdale manager, thanking everybody involved. It's been very much a team effort. Wonderful scenes there from the tunnel where the players know that they did their bit. They were just waiting on the Northampton Oldham result, which ended 2-2, which meant that they bettered that result and stayed up. So just for confirmation purposes, this is how Sky Bet League One ends at the end of this season. At the bottom, Oldham, Northampton, NK Dons and Bury are relegated. Rochdale, because they bettered that result against Northampton and Oldham, they stay up in 20th place. And at the top, confirmation, champions Wigan, obviously along with promoted Blackburn. And the playoffs are going to involve Shrewsbury Town, Rotherham, Scunthorpe and Charlton. So if that wasn't dramatic enough, we've got all of the playoff drama coming up for you on Sky Sports. Starts on Thursday, Charlton versus Shrewsbury, their first leg, 7:30 p.m, Sky Sports Football. The next Saturday, Scunthorpe versus Rotherham, their first leg, midday, also on Sky Sports Football. Wolves in the Wolfpack is available 11:30 a.m. to watch Sky Sports Football, the behind-the-scenes story of their wonderful ascent to the Premier League. Well, Tony Bellew pulled off a stunning victory last time out. Now he and the Haymaker clash once again in the hugely anticipated rematch. There's a stacked undercard too, with coverage getting underway from 6 p.m. on Sky Sports Box Office. Sky customers should go to channel 491 or Box Office to book this event. For more information on all the ways to watch, go to skysports.com, Bellew Hay 2. Cable customers should contact their operator. So, joyous scenes here in the sunshine at Spotland. Rochdale have secured their League One status with a 1-0 victory against Charlton. They obviously had to wait for the result of the Northampton game, but a goal from Joe Thompson, man that's beaten cancer twice, has come back to be the hero for Dale at Spotland. They will be in League One next season for certain. This was the moment that Rochdale players realised that their survival campaign had been a success. They had an anxious several minutes to wait off the back end of the Northampton Oldham game, which kicked off later than our match here at Spotland. But as they drew and they bettered that result, they will be playing Sky Bet League One football again next season. Stuart McCall is alongside me, and when we look at the effect that a manager can have on a game, an inspired substitution to bring Joe Thompson on, the man who scored the winning goal.
Yeah, it wasn't just, obviously Davis came on as well. It was the fact that he took a defender off and they really went 4-4-2 because they needed a victory. And yeah, as a manager, when then come off, it's brilliant.
We can take a look at the goal now. When we look at perhaps where it comes from, or maybe the cool finish. I mean, there's so much to respect about how this goal actually goes in, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, when a ball comes in and gets played back in, and you watch the right back, he gets on well here, gets in front, puts the ball over, and there's a cries for penalty here. Everyone sort of stops the crowd. But he takes it well there onto his left and, hits it through. The keepers can't see.
Does it help that Ben Amos unsighted with the shot?
I think he is unsighted there, but there was cries from the crowd for a penalty there. I don't think it was, but good first touch there, and he's unsighted and he puts it way across, back across the keeper. But Reeves has to go in. Lovely first touch with his right, and his second touch is in the back of the net.
And we look at perhaps bigger things in football, because sometimes there are, Stuart. When we look at the battle that Joe Thompson's faced, beating cancer twice, coming on, the icing on the cake for a battle that he's fought so bravely and so successfully.
Yeah, fantastic. Wonder if he woke up this morning and thought he was going to be a hero like he is today. He's a hero to his daughter, as you see there. But yeah, if you could write it and you wanted anyone to get the winner, it would have been Joe. And delighted for him and obviously for Keith and for Rochdale.
Of course, whatever Rochdale did, they needed a favour from Northampton, a team that were already down there themselves against Oldham over at Six Fields. And it was Oldham that took the lead first. And when we're looking at the dimensions of this and the dynamics of the game going through, George Edmondson putting the wayside ahead. And as we heard the reaction filter through, didn't it?
Yeah.
Again, we're looking at small instances in the game such as this. It's a penalty that Matt Grounds eventually puts away, but is this when you feel that the luck was on Rochdale's side?
Well, it's a goalkeeping error. He comes out, he could have collected it, he kicked it with his feet. Here, I don't know if it's a good save to start with or again an error, but just on half-time. And credit Oldham, they go in, 2-1 down, and then they come fight back. Really good, powerful header. You see the Oldham fans behind the goal. Thousands travelled today, and but Northampton's obviously held on.
And it was Thomas Hamer with the equaliser for Oldham, which perhaps that had given them a lifeline. But as we sat here and watched those agonising last few minutes, they're feeling it very sharp to their Richie Wellens and his players, aren't they?
Well, they are, yeah. A horrible feeling, I would imagine, to get relegated, especially on the last day and in the manner that they've done. You know, but that's football. Northampton, nothing to play for. I've gone and put in a gutsy performance by all accounts. But the day belongs to Rochdale today for a fantastic victory.
And how different could it have been when we look at perhaps decisions made at the crucial period from the referee? Yeah. For you, are you screaming penalty here, Rafferty on Reeves?
I agree with Don Goodman in commentary. It could have been given. But if you look at the Charlton players, there's not that many, including Reeves, really, that claim. You know, there's not a massive claim, certainly from Reeves or anybody else. Are you
surprised at that?
Yeah, his hand's round his neck, and the referee couldn't be in a better position, but maybe they've just got a little bit of luck when they needed it. Surprising there that no player appealed.
Would that be a reflection on how comfortable, because as we know, Charlton were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Plymouth comprehensively beaten by Gillingham. Would they have known that, perhaps reflected in the reaction?
I'm sure there'd have been a different reaction if the Charlton needed a win or something today. I think they knew they were comfortable. And I thought the performance was a bit like that. I thought they were comfortable. They didn't even when they went to go behind, they weren't rushing to take free kicks or take goal kicks. They were passing it about at the back. And I think they thought they'd done enough. But it's going to be interesting now. They've got everything to play for, obviously, in the playoffs.
And when we look at momentum, we talk about the key word going into the playoffs. Is that something that you feel Charlton have behind them? Considering where they've come from, Lee Butty took over, they were in 9th, now they've finished in those most important places.
I think, well, if you look at today, I think obviously Shrewsbury got beat at home to MK Downs. Charlton got beat today. Scunthorpe won and drew at home to Bradford, and the team that won was Rotherham. And for me, you know, we played against them all when I was a manager of Bradford, and Rotherham for me with the best side. But everyone on the day, you know, Scunthorpe is solid at the back. Charlton have got individual people that can hurt you. Shrewsbury had a fantastic season. They've lost a few games of late, although today they might have played a weakened side. But it's not what you've done; it's what you're going to go do now. And who's got the momentum? Honestly, you can't tell in all 4 games. Last season, the team that finished 5th and 6th got to Wembley. There's nothing this about finishing 3rd and 4th gives you any advantage on my part of view. Doesn't matter if you're at home or away first. And you know, interesting now to look forward to it.
Absolutely. So it's been a wonderful day for Rochdale and Keith Hillside. They've survived on the last day of the season. Joyous scenes here at Spotland. After the break, we'll hear the other side of the coin. Lee Bowyer will be with our interviewer David Craig, his reaction to the game, his team heading into the playoffs.
Screwfix sponsors Sky Sports coverage of the English Football League.
Weeds. They can be a real pain. So try Fast Action Roundup. It's so effective, it kills weeds down to the root, so they don't grow back. And for larger areas, no bending, and a continuous spray, try Roundup Pump and Go. Kill the root, kill the weed with Roundup.
When Freddie Flintoff asked to be the face of the Star's £100 million challenge, we said no. What? But then we had an idea. The first human billboard in space. You see, Freddie, the prize is the Star, not you.
It's cold.
Correctly predict all the World Cup results, win, lose or draw, and win up to £100 million. Enter for free at BetStars by PokerStars.
Dream, dream, dream when I want you in my arms whenever I want you. All I have to do is dream. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine, anytime, night or day.
When I'm not teaching, I need to explore. So I use Kayak to see the destinations right for me and decide where I'll dive into next.
In a way, it's all a matter of time.
Lloyds Bank, by your side.
There's a new day dawning.
Can Cardiff secure promotion on the final day? Cardiff v Reading, live on Sky Sports Football.
Stuck for something to watch this spring? Sky Cinema has a brand new premiere for you every day of the week. That means we have something for those wild nights in, avoiding the springtime showers. And for the rest of the week? Well, you'll just have to wait and see.
I've not had this much fun in so long.
A brand new premiere every single day of the week, only on Sky Cinema.
Screwfix sponsors Sky Sports coverage of the English Football League.
Well, the focus has been on Rochdale today, but Charlton are in the top six. Lee Bowyer took over when they were 9th. He's now guiding them to a playoff spot. He's now with David Craig.
Lee, clearly disappointed to lose the game today. What were your thoughts on that 90 minutes?
Obviously disappointment. I think we didn't take care of the ball in the final third. Really lackadaisy on the ball. We had too many players that were under par. I just said to them, look, we've achieved what we set out to achieve. Everybody had written us off before I'd taken over. I said to them, you need to get in the playoffs, you will get in the playoffs, and that's what we've done. So it's not about today's performance and not winning the game. For me, we'd already set our standard and set the stall out to do what we had already done. So I'm over the moon with him. I'm not going to stand here and criticise them or say they've done wrong. Okay, yeah, we're disappointed we didn't win because we want to win every game. But the most important thing now for me is Thursday. So we have to get them ready for Thursday. Now we're going to have 2 battles with Shrewsbury and see who the best team are.
As you say, Shrewsbury is. You're at home first. How big is that test?
It's massive. We just went there and beat them at their place, so we know how tough it's going to be. They beat us at our place, so it's going to be interesting. I've said from day one, whoever we play in the playoffs, I don't think they'll beat us over 2 legs. Nothing's changed after today's performance, so I believe in the squad of players that I've got, and I know what they're capable of. So, no, I'm looking forward to Thursday.
I was going to say, you never shirked a challenge as a player. How much are you looking forward to this as a manager?
I'm excited, because everyone's a winner and everyone wants to be a winner, and I know I've got winners in that dressing room. So we've got 2 games to play against Shrewsbury, and I'm excited.
We look forward to seeing you there. Wish you well.
Thank you.
Lee Bowyer firmly fixed on the first playoff semi-final. Stuart, for you, when you listen to the way he's talking, he's quite obviously set standards at Charlton. Didn't think they attained them today. Has he got a bit of work to do in the run-up to the first semi?
No, I don't think so. I think he's pretty relaxed, is Lee. I think their big game was last week. They managed a fantastic home victory against Blackburn, which put them into the playoffs. He'll have a good group of players to choose from. As I said, there were 2 or 3 key players left out today. He'll be happy to bring them back in. And again, as he said, they went to Shrewsbury not long ago and won there. So, no, I think they're slightly disappointed, as he said, in the quality of the performance today, certainly in the final third. But they've got match winners in the side.
When you look at the team that they're going to be playing, Shrewsbury, that have been up there for such a long period of time, ended up in the playoffs, not necessarily a bad way to end the season, but when you've been up there in the automatic promotion spots, is there a case of having to lift and go again with the players?
I think they could be. I think because 4 or 5 games ago, they had a real chance of still getting in automatic, and once that's taken away from you, again you prepare for the playoffs. But they've got a hardy bunch. They've against all odds this season, they've finished in the playoff terrifically well. I would say I think most people had expected Blackburn and Wigan to go up. The other 3, Scunthorpe, Charlton, and who's the other one? Scunthorpe, Charlton. I know we're looking for in that playoffs. We're looking for...
Sorry,
Scunthorpe, Charlton, and help me out here. Who's the other playoff contender?
Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury and
Rotherham, of course. Well,
the favourites.
Well, I've got to say, I thought Rotherham, them 5 would be in the playoffs.
Too much drama here. We're sorry.
And Shrewsbury have done terrifically well to be there, but they have tailed off recently, so that might be a quite slight concern. But it's all about on the night. Thursday will be a cracking atmosphere, certainly down at Charlton, that's for sure. The fans were terrific today.
Any one of those teams that stand out for you as a potential winner?
No, as I said, they've all got different attributes. For me, the best side we played with Rotherham. I think they're strong, they've got a terrific home record. Having said that, a derby against Scunthorpe will be terrific. But for me, if I had to pick, I would go Rotherham.
Okay, Stuart, thank you very much for joining us on this wonderfully sunny day for Rochdale. Huge game tomorrow for you in the Sky Bet Championship. Cardiff versus Reading, live from the Cardiff City Stadium from midday. That's on Sky Sports Football. Remember, if Cardiff win, they will end up in the Premier League. Well, Tony Bellew pulled off a stunning upset last time out. Now he and the Haymaker clash once again in a hugely anticipated rematch. Will it be a repeat or revenge? There's a stacked undercard too, with coverage getting underway from 6 p.m. on Sky Sports Box Office. Sky customers should go to channel 491 or Box Office to book this event. For more information on all the ways to watch, go to skysports.com/Bellew Hay 2. Cable customers should contact their operator. Well, Charlton may be in the players, but today the sunshine and Scotland belongs to Rochdale. They've secured League One status for another season. Thank you for joining us.